Hi y'all, and welcome to my 2019 winter TBR, I guess. I have some phenomenal books on here, and I haven't read most of them. I've read one of them because it is mid-January and it is a winter TBR, but I am so excited for this TBR more than any other books. And yeah, just wait. The last one I tell you about is the one I read, and it was amazing, like incredible. So let's get started. My very first one is Us Against You by Fredrik, one of my favorite authors, one of like the world's favorite authors. He's sold millions of books in a relatively short period. I absolutely loved Beartown. It was gripping, it was sad, it was exciting, and I can't wait to find out what happened to Us Against You. I love going into his stuff not knowing what I'm reading, so I'm excited about that. I know it is a sequel or tied to or something along those lines, and I'm so excited to read this. This is like the top of my list in February. Really excited. But Beartown was about a hockey team and rape, and it was horrible and but all of you guys who love Fredrik as much as me, this has got to be in top of your list to read in winter, or maybe you read it. It did come out like in August, which I don't know why. It's about hockey and snow. Put it out in November. I think it came out in August. June? It came out in June? That's ridiculous. That is way too warm. No. My next ones I'm so excited about because I finally read Six of Crows. It took me forever to get through, and then the second one, Crooked Kingdom. Absolutely love them. Both of them took me forever to get through. They have long stories, long fantasies, and loved every single character. Like, absolutely love the story itself. I'm so excited to dive back into that world. So that's why this February I'm going to be totally reading these. Which is so excited. So this is Shadow and Bone by Leigh Bardugo. How do you guys say her name? Everybody kind of says it a little bit differently. Unless they've interviewed her. Then I noticed they say it right, I think. Siege and Storm. And then the last one is Run Rising. Absolutely love the other ones that were set in this world. Every single book I have read by her is amazing. I just read, what was it? I'm not going to go into it. But I read Wonder Woman by her. It was so good. And Crooked Kingdom was good. They're all so really good. The only thing I would say about this writer is I don't FIFO her books. So I'm a little nervous about putting this on my February. I'm going to put this in February, or all three of these in February. So I'm a little nervous about that. I don't FIFO her books. They're not like candy. They're not easy to swallow. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of people. There's a lot of different personalities. There's a lot of history. And so they're easy to put down for me because I remember everybody so distinctively. This is like the one author I always remember the characters' names and who they were and where they came from. Phenomenal though. I'm so excited. So if you haven't read the Grisha series, you have to, because my number 3 pick is King of Scars, which I think again is related to this series in particular from what I read. And I didn't read too much because I'm so excited about it. King of Scars just came out in January and is by Leigh Bardugo. And I know it's about the series. I don't know a lot about it, but I had to put it on this list for winter TBR because I know the Grisha live. Look at this. It even kind of looks like Russia right there. Reminds you a little bit of St. Petersburg Palace. The Grisha live in a very cold area. And so yeah, it's cold. It's freezing. It's nice to read freezing things when it's not. Look, this is bigger writing than Crooked Kingdom. Maybe I will fly through these. Hopefully I do. I'm so excited about this. It's just cool when you do find a good writer, and especially somebody who's really overhyped and you're like, oh gosh, is it going to be good? I don't know. Is it going to be good? The next one is a book that also came out in January, and it's The Wicked King by Holly Black. So excited for this. This is a sequel book. No idea what it's about. I read the first one. It was about a fae world and a human that lives in it. It's really good, and I'm excited to see what happens. You got to know what happens in the romances, and I'm a big romance person, and I'm really excited to see what happens. And I have more in-depth reviews about what is that series? About the Cruel Prince, which I can link down below, but I'm really excited for this. This is a new release, and I don't like to look into them that much and read that much to give everything away. I know you're looking for a synopsis, but I'm guessing it's going to be about the same people. It's a sequel story, so yeah. There you go. Let me tell you something about Pam Jenoff. Let me go on a little bit of a rant. I hear almost nothing about this author on YouTube or BookTube or Book World or whatever, and she is one of my favorite, and so many of you guys are like, I love historical fiction. Maybe you guys have talked about her and I just missed those specific videos. But she is one of my favorite or the favorite historical fiction writers I've ever read. And it is because you will fly through her books. She is one of the few number 5 authors that I've read in my lifetime that I will read everything they put out, and whatever brain chemistry, it just matches mine, and I love everything she writes. She does write about romance heavily a lot in her historical fiction, and it's just done so well. She's a very good writer. I think she's like a law school teacher or something. She does a really good job. I'm so excited to read Winter's Guest. I put it on my list. I pushed it back and pushed it back. It's one of the only books I've ever pushed back from her, but this one is on my list for my winter TBR because she does have a new release, which is also my winter TBR, and it is The Lost Girls of Paris by Pam Jenoff. The Winter's Guest, this one I know is about a family, and well, it's about 2 girls trying to raise a family. She generally does write about World War II, so this is a World War II novel. They're in Poland, Nazi occupied. Will you not get arrested? And then an American comes along as well. Boys, I'm hoping that's the romance part. So I'm excited to read this about 2 sisters who don't get along, but then I think they don't get along, but then they obviously war changes people and everything. But her books are so quickly read, I have to be prepared because sometimes I will just stay up and read them through the night. So if you like historical fiction that you can swallow really easily, like a YA novelist, but it is adult, you will love her. Just a little bit of a rant about Pam Jenoff. The next one is also The Lost Girls by Pam Jenoff, and I do not know what this is about. I just know it's coming up. I know it is a little bit hyped because The Orphan Train by her, I have it right here. The Orphan's Tale by her did get good reviews and stuff, and I think some people said they read it on here. I'm not sure. So I'm really excited about that. But I have seen it on a lot of lists online, so hopefully more people read her and love her. If you start with a Commandant's Girl, if you like angst and like slow burn love and historical fiction, this is the author. Just like go read it and check it out. You'll love it. That was a really long rant for, number whatever, 8, 9, or whatever those were. I'm going to do my last 2 for winter. This one is coming out in early March, which for me technically is spring in Texas. I'm sorry, but it's spring. It's raining. It's no longer really cold, but it's raining here in March, and we're growing all sorts of flowers, and they're beautiful. But this one is coming out at the beginning of March, so I did sneak it in here. And I know some people do the whole of March as winter because I used to live in a place March was definitely winter, April was definitely winter, and not where I live right now. So for me, I'm like, oh, that's spring, but no. And Sherwood by Megan Spooner. I absolutely love her YA because I can read it really quickly and it's always good. I'm always surprised, even when she writes with other people, I'm always like, that's really good. Good job. So I'm excited about this. This is the first book I think I've actually anticipated by her and not just kind of stumbled upon and read and was like, oh, that was another one by Megan Spooner. It was really good. But this one is Sherwood, and it is about Maid Marian, and, right? Yeah, Maid Marian. So yeah, Robin Hood is dead, and she needs to take control of the city. And it's a woman's perspective book, and I don't know if it's her taking Robin's place, but it's a strong woman thing. Absolutely love her. So excited for it. And yeah, I'll definitely be reading it this winter. And then the last book I already did read, because like I said, it's in the middle of January, and our winter really here is like December-ish, January, February, and that's it. And it is The Great Alone by Kristin Hannah. Now this book and their dog, the Nightingale, was read by like everybody last year, even though it did not come out last year, and I have not read it because it is a historical fiction novel. And there was a lot of hype around it. And I was like, oh, I don't know. I'm like one of those people that sometimes do that. And then sometimes I jump on the bandwagon. It just depends. But I read The Great Alone because it was her like newest novel. And it came out in 2018. And it was phenomenal. Talk about writers that I would read anything they put out. It was so freaking good. I was reading it in the very beginning and I was like, oh, 14-year-old girl, do I want to read this? But it was so gripping. I had to keep reading it and it was done so well. But it is a great winter read. It is freezing. It's about a family who the dad is suffering because he was a POW in Vietnam. I guess you could call it historical fiction because it's 40 years ago. But the book ends when it's like the year I was born. So I can't consider that historical fiction, even though that's 40-ish years ago and now 30-ish by the time the book ends. But the book does progress. It isn't all about a 14-year-old, but that story in itself is gripping. And it is so well done. I was so amazed. I was like, I will read anything by her. Just serve it over. Like, I am so excited to read this one. This one is on my winter TBR, but I would suggest everybody read The Great Alone. And it is about a family. They moved to Alaska just to kind of get away from everything, try to do a reset, but they know it's not going to work. And it's hard. There's a lot of hard stuff in this. Amazing, amazing, amazing romance in it. It is done so well, and I loved all the characters. I mean, it was good. It was gripping. I had to read it like straight through, even though it was a long book, which rarely ever happens. So you know it's a good writer, and I was just so surprised. Which isn't, it's kind of funny though, because this was on the top of a lot of people's, I have a little sticker on here. This was on the top of a lot of people's list this year. And so I was like, all right, I've got to try this author out. But if you did and you loved her, you will probably love The Great Alone. I don't know, maybe that book is way better. I don't know what I'm talking about, I guess. But read it. It is cold. It's a good wintertime book. And it is done so wow. I was just amazed by it. And it's nothing like you're getting a lot of historical whatever out of it. And there's not a ton of huge diverse characters and a ton of adventure, but it is gripping and you want to know what's going to happen. And it's really kind of down to like human earth, like decisions, like just the regular day-to-day human decisions. And oh, it's sad at times. It's so sad. And it's not, how do you say this? It's not one of the stories that every turn of the page is like a trick and there's something setting you off to keep reading. It is the build of like angst in it, I guess. In the build of, oh my gosh, you're like on the edge of something and something is going to happen. It's not like a trick or a twist in the story, which those are really fun to read as well. But this was just not that story. But I would really recommend it. It was phenomenal. And it is from the main point of view of a little girl. And then as you go on the story out of nowhere, you get the view of like other people in the story and you're like, what? Can you do this as an author? Can you be 3/4 of the way into the book and then interject somebody else's voice? And she ends up interjecting like 2 other people's voices into the book, like really far into the book. And you know these characters, you've just never heard from their perspective. And it is kind of mind-blowing. I'm like, what works? Because I loved it. Because sometimes you read books like this and you're like, I want to know what happened here. And she does a really good job. The other thing she's really good at is this book is done in a bit of a timeline. So it kind of jumps. There's when she's young and then teenager and then a little bit older when she's 25-ish. But after she kind of settles each one, you're kind of like happy where the story has ended. Not like happy, but if she had like settled it and written out the ending and made a good ending, you would have been like, that's a really good book. But she kept going on and giving you more and giving you more. And you're really, really happy for that and excited because there's kind of no guesses where these characters end up. But I still kind of want more from them. It was so good. It's just, oh, I really, really liked it. It was impressively done. There are a lot of hard subjects in it that were done well. And I mean, it was just good all around. The characters were good. The plot was good. The timing was good. It's just phenomenal. And I'm so excited to read The Nightingale. So if you haven't checked The Great Alone out, and I'm excited to read Fireplace. And I don't know, I'm excited to read like all her books. If you haven't read The Great Alone, go ahead and check it out. You won't be disappointed. And thanks for watching. Bye.